So rule number one, or application. So what we need to understand in this rule is basically that all rules in collision and regulation shall apply in all vessels and in all oceans connected with navigable seagoing. And also, what we need to take note in these rules, uh, that special rules may apply to harbors, rivers, and canals. And aside from that, uh, vessels, fishing in fleet, and warships may use special lights, shapes, and sound signals as long as they cannot be confused with those in the rules. And if a vessel is of unusual construction or use may deviate in the characteristics of light and sound signaling devices as long as they comply as closely as possible. So rule number two, or responsibility. So based on my own understanding in this rule, what we need to understand or uh, execute is we need to act immediately or make a decision immediately so we can avoid unnecessary or unexpected situations like collision, and there's a consequences if we neglect to comply in these rules. So what are those consequences? So it may lead to, or it could lead to collision or abandon ship, or even loss of cruise. So to avoid or prevent these situations, we need to be we need to have a presence of mind and also to act uh, immediately, and uh, to be attentive at all time. Rule number 4, or application. Rule in this section apply to any condition of visibility. Of course, the rules in this section apply generally regardless of whether the vessels can see each other. Lookout. So rule 5, or lookout. Every vessel shall at all times maintain a proper lookout by sight and hearing as well as by all available means appropriate in the prevailing circumstances and conditions so as to make a full appraisal of the situation and of the risk of collision. So in this rule, we need to have a presence of mind all the time, and if we use the radar, we should check the scale or range of the other ships so we can able to locate or detect the other ships. And of course, in this um, rule, there are a lot of things that not visible in the radar, so we need to have a proper lookout to avoid unexpected or unnecessary situations. So rule number 6, or safe speed. Every vessel shall at all times proceed at a safe speed so that she can take proper and effective action collision and be stopped within a distance appropriate to the prevailing circumstances and conditions. So with that being said, um, every vessel or any type or any type of vessel shall at all times um, proceed at a safe speed so we can avoid um, collision or any circumstances and conditions. And also in this rule, we are talking about we are limiting the required limits so that we can avoid or prevent um, collision at sea or the risk of collision. Risk of collision. So, paragraph 1. Every vessel shall use all available means appropriate to the prevailing circumstances and conditions to determine if risk of collision exists. If there is any doubt, such risk shall be deemed to exist. Paragraph number 2. Proper use shall be made of radar equipment if fitted and operational, including long-range scanning to obtain early warning of risk of collision and radar plotting or equivalent systematic observation of detected objects. So with that being said, you need to systematically observe the radar in every period of time to determine if collision may exist, because it may lead to serious collision between the two vessels if there is no early collision warning. Paragraph number 3. Assumptions shall not be made on the basis of scanty information, especially scanty radar information. Now, in this situation, you also need to systematically observe the radar, because scanty information is basically an incomplete information. So, you need to seriously take action to avoid unnecessary situations. Now, on the first paragraph, under the fourth paragraph of risk of collision, such risk shall be deemed to exist if the compass bearing of an approaching vessel does not appreciably change. So, let us just imagine that these two prescribes that I have here is vessels. So, this one is going straight, and this another one is going to the left. Now, if their bearings is not appreciably changed while sailing to their desired um, directions, it may lead to a serious collision. So, let's move on to the other one. Such risk may sometimes exist even when an appreciable bearing change is evident, particularly when approaching a very large vessel or a tow, or when approaching a vessel at close range. So, with that being said, let us just imagine that this one is a very large vessel. So, to measure the bearings of these two, this one needs to look for the bow of this vessel. Now, even when the bearing change is evident, collision at sea may happen or may occur while they are sailing to their desired directions. I think that would be all for the rule number 7. Now, let's move forward to the rule number 8. On the first paragraph of the Rule 8, or action to avoid collision, it says that any actions to avoid collision shall be taken. So, meaning to say, we should do anything, or we must do anything to avoid collisions at sea and avoid unexpected situations. And with that being said, we also need to apply good seamanship. Now, on the second paragraph, we need to avoid small alterations that is not visible or noticeable from the other ship, but instead we can make one alteration or single alteration that is visible from the other ship, so that they can notice that our ship is taking actions to avoid collision. So on the third paragraph, alteration of course alone may be the most effective action to avoid close quarter situation. So I think it is connected to what I have said earlier, that one single alteration could be the most effective way, and uh, for the other vessel to notice that our ship is taking action to avoid collision or unexpected situation. So on the fourth paragraph, action to avoid collision with another vessel shall be carefully checked. So as per advice, we need to check time to time that until the other vessel is passed and clear. On this paragraph, to assess the situation or avoid collision, we could do slacken our speed or stop our vessel from where we are supposed to go until the way is safe and clear. On this paragraph, the vessel is required to not impede to passage or safe passage of the other vessel. So now, for instance, we are having a cross situation. Now, to not impede the other vessel's safe passage, the other vessel should take an early action, which is to allow sufficient sea room, and by doing that, the other vessel is not impeding the safe passage of the other vessel. On this paragraph, to take an early action to not impede the other vessel's passage or safe passage, just like for example, we are having a cross situation again. Now, the other vessel should do the bow alteration and position the vessels on the parallel, so the other vessel may notice that this vessel is taking action. So let us now talk about or discuss about the rule number 9, which is the narrow channels. Now in this rule, I am going to briefly discuss, but I hope I can deliver this very well. And in this rule, we are talking about the giveaway vessel, or if our vessel is proceeding to a narrow channel, we need to keep or maintain our vessel to the fairway um, that lies on our starboard side. So to execute the safe and practicable action. Now, aside from that, um, like for example, we are having a crossing situation that is most likely on the rule 15, which is the crossing situation. Now, with that being said, um, we shall not impede the other vessel passage plan or safe passage, like and also if we are going to overtake to another vessel, we are the giveaway vessel. So to do that, just like for instance, we need to give her an attention by just make a sound signal prescribed in rule 34. Now, uh, if we are going to the starboard side to overtake over the another vessel, what we need to, or what we are going to use is the two prolonged blasts followed by one short blast. Now, if we are going to have an agreement with the other vessel should sound or should respond uh, one prolonged blast followed by short prolonged blast, and also followed by one prolonged blast and also short prolonged blast. And I think that will be all for the rule 9, or narrow channels. Let's move on to the rule number 10. So rule 10, or traffic separation schemes. Now in this rule, what we need to understand or follow is that we need to keep or maintain our course to the traffic separation line. Uh, of course, to avoid unexpected happenings. Uh, and also, aside from that, we need to uh, we are not allowed to cross on the traffic separation scheme. But if we are going to do so, we need to maintain or keep our course from where we are heading to. Tama ba? Parang mali ah. Tama ba? Tama naman siguro. And also, aside from that, if our vessel is restricted in her ability to maneuver, if or when engaged in operation for the maintenance of safety navigation in traffic separation scheme. Now, we are exempted for complying with this rule. And also, if engaged in operation for the lying service or picking up a submarine line, we are also exempted for complying with this rule. And I think that will be all for the rule number 10, and let's move on to the rule number 11. So rule 11, or application. Now, rules in this section to vessels in sight of one another. So rule 12, or sailing vessels. Now in this rule, to apply this rule, we need to determine if the two vessels is engaged in sailing vessels or fishing vessels. And of course, if risk of collision exists. Now, for example, the wind is heading to the north. Now, now, with that being said, we have I called it a triangle situation, like slant. Now, to apply this rule, we need to determine if risk of collision exists. Now, if risk of collision exists, we need to take an immediate action. So, the other so the other vessel need to take action to avoid collision. So what action should she take? She should alter her bow to the port side so it will go port to port. Now, in the other hand, um, if the vessel is located on the same direction, and if the risk of collision is exists, we need to alter our bow to her astern, so it will be a leeward. I think that will be all for the rule number 12, and let's move on to the rule number 13.